overview questions and start to finish questions, and I'll give you a snapshot of kind of where we are right now as an incident management team on this incident. So right now the incident's still in unified command between three agencies. That's CAL FIRE, the City of Santa Rosa Fire Department, and the Sonoma County Sheriff's Department. And what that really means is there's three incident commanders sitting in the same room at all times making these decisions so that everybody's interests are involved. To date, we're up to 107,000 acres for all the fires in Sonoma County, and overall we're at 80% containment. The forward progress of these fires has stopped, and the optimism is getting much stronger for the troops and the commanders out there. This weather helps a lot, especially as you can imagine. So the immediacy of the emergency is waning, it's mitigating. The fire perimeter is not going to change much from here on out as we go forward. But now we have some other difficulties that we're dealing with, and those are mitigating the kind of the remnant of what is out there. And the theme has been and continues to be patience. And I can tell you a story from yesterday that we had a close call with a 16-foot wide tree that almost struck two firefighters yesterday. So these are the situations where we do not want to allow the public back into these dangerous areas. Just because the immediacy of the fire front has gone through, the remnants and the dangers are still out there. So we just plead with everybody, it's for the general public safety that these areas we haven't opened up are occurring, and it's because we still have some significant and serious dangers. Nothing would make us feel worse than letting people in and having a serious emergency happen in there. So that's where we're at. The other piece of information and news is that there is an online map now that the county has put out and released, and it's the damage inspection map. So homeowners are now able to go on the online map that's found at the Sonoma County website and type in to see where the latest damaged structures are, and that's a live real-time map that's available. In addition, the live real-time evacuation map is also updated. So those two sites are extremely helpful. The fire perimeters aren't going to change that much, obviously, but getting that information out as soon as possible will. I will say we do have representatives from the City of Santa Rosa Law Enforcement and the Sonoma County Sheriff's Department, and all of the evacuation re-entries are being coordinated, and I just can't stress enough, it's public safety is our #1 priority when we get people back into these areas. We feel the same way that everybody else does. We want to get people back to their properties and their homes, and I can't stress enough that is our priority, and to do it safely. So with that, if there are specific questions afterwards, I'll be here to answer them. The final takeaway is firefighters are optimistic. Firefighters are still working hard. They're very happy that the rain is here, and we're not leaving this thing until it's 100% out. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and all the CAL FIRE people will stay here for questions when we get there. I do want to announce that we've got cards for questions that are going to be going around the room. And then I'd also like to give a shout out to these wonderful ladies that are doing the sign language. They've been with us from the very start, interpreting for those that cannot understand on their own. So thank you very much. So we know we're talking about all things recovery, all things getting back to these properties, and we have law enforcement, and I think it's the same way. You saw it here with the fire, CAL FIRE and the local fire departments, all getting along, working together. Same can be said with the Sonoma County Sheriff's Department, the City of Sonoma Police, and also the California Highway Patrol. And we've got Police Chief Brett Sackett here from the Sonoma, actually he doubles, but he's the police chief for the City of Sonoma. And also Commander Chris Childs from the California Highway Patrol, all have just done an outstanding job.
Good afternoon, everybody. As he said, my name is Brett Sackett. I am the police chief of the City of Sonoma and also the area commander on behalf of the Sheriff's Department, from basically Oakmont down to the racetrack out to Napa. As the theme has been said, we are really working under a unified command on many fronts. both fire and police and public works. And it is not without challenges, but at the most part, we're moving forward, and we are definitely trying to do what is in the best interest of public safety for our community. We have been, since the fire started, and we continue, we have had a significant mutual aid presence from various law enforcement agencies throughout California. At any given shift in the Valley area, we're running approximately 60 law enforcement officers to help protect this community. Some of them are put on hard road closures, some of them are just patrolling the streets, some of them are providing additional directed patrols at areas that are vulnerable. And so in essence, we are doing everything we can to keep this community as safe as possible. I think the theme, as Jonathan said earlier, especially to our local community, I know this has been a frustrating experience. I know that you're not getting the answers you need, you're not getting back to your homes if you've been in an evacuation area. And what I really ask, and I beg, is that you just dig down deep to that last little bit of patience you have, and help us kind of see through this. Chris will talk a little bit about road closures and some of the challenges that we have with that. But ultimately, we're here to support you. We thank you, this community, for what they've done for us. And I really think that in the next coming days, we're going to see a significant change in where we are. So thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Chris Childs, and I'm the commander of the Napa CHP office, which serves the Sonoma Valley. And it's an honor to stand in front of you today. We are at day 11, by my count. I'm a state worker, so that might be a different number, but it's day 11. And at every briefing, morning and night, that I give to all my troops, I remind them that these are all good people that just want to go home. So I hope, and I pray actually, that our officers are taking great care of the citizens of this valley. You should rest assured that the Highway Patrol has deployed maximum numbers of officers to both protect your towns, cities, and country areas, as well as staff our road closures. And again, on day 11, you can imagine the patience that some display, and perhaps a little less that others don't. And our officers are there to serve and to give instruction and to be the voice of these agencies behind me, who have very much been unified, but work closely together to open roadways as soon as possible. A lot of people ask us, why aren't the roadways open? I don't see any smoke. But we're here to tell you that there's a lot of infrastructure that's been burned, that is falling. There are trees that continue to be smoldering inside that you might not see. We've had trees come down. We just heard from the PIO from CAL FIRE about trees that pose a danger. And so we're here to work with our partners and open those roads just as soon as possible. In terms of getting information out, I know that the county uses Nixle, but I'd also like to invite you all to join our Napa CHP Facebook page. So if you go on Facebook and type in the search line CHP Napa, we put our road closures and openings, more importantly, up there as soon as they become available to us, so the public can get that information right away. And finally, I just want to send a warm shout out to all of the people of this valley, and I'd like to tell you how much I appreciate the support that we feel. Those signs that you see hanging out on poles and trees and all over overcrossings, they're everywhere. And you might think that doesn't make an impact, but when our officers are out there and they're working 15, 16 hours a day, many times by themselves on a lonely post with sometimes people getting agitated with them, and they come back and see the bulk of the community supports their efforts, that means a great deal to our first responders. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief and Commander. Right now, we're going to move to Arriving to Your Neighborhood, California Office of Emergency Service and FEMA. Let me say, both of these organizations arrived early on the scene and started preparing for this day last week. Cal OES has been here, of course, from the very, very beginning. But at this point, I'm going to call up Cal OES. Is it? What's that? Eric Lamoureux. Yeah, Eric Lamoureux. I had it here somewhere. Eric, come on up. Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Eric Lamoureux. I'm the senior executive in charge of all of our operations in support of Sonoma County. I have counterparts that are, for any of you that are outside Sonoma County, that have the same assignment for Napa, Lake, and Mendocino counties. I'm not a resident of this community. I came in here to support, but I will tell you that I'm a resident now, and myself and our collective state and federal family will be residents long after today to help you through what's going to be a very long process of cleaning up and rebuilding. So I'm honored that I was asked to be here to support your community, and I want to walk through a couple things. I want to talk a little bit about debris operations and helping get you the resources to clean up your home sites. Also talk a little bit about housing options from shelters and moving on to a transitional phase, and then let you know about some resources that are here in the building tonight or this afternoon to help you. So, you know, the scale of this operation, as you've seen in the papers, is just monumental. We've got 7 different counties across Northern California. Obviously, in Sonoma County was the worst of it. We were asked very early on by Sonoma County for help when it comes to debris and helping you clean up your home sites. The governor made a request to the federal government yesterday. That request has been approved, and that will allow us to bring federal government resources in to augment our local and state resources and essentially establish a program that will allow us, with your permission, to come in and clean up your home site and return a safe, clean site to yourself and your family. So there's a lot of details that need to be worked out on that. The most important thing for today is that what we need from all of you, once we've answered your questions and helped you to understand what's available to you, is to get you to sign what we call a right of entry, which is going to give us permission to work on doing 2 things. 1, cleaning up household hazardous waste that's at your home site. The materials in the garage, propane tanks from the barbecue, any number of things that we need to get out of there before we can move contractors in to do a full cleanup of your site. We can't do any action on your property until we've got those right of entries. So there's county personnel here tonight with some of those right of entry forms. We will be finding other avenues to get those forms out to you. But this is a program that is going to help us help you begin that process of rebuilding. You don't need to have the headache and heartache that comes with having to figure out, how do I clean up this? How do I clean up my home? And the sooner that we can remove that debris, the sooner we can get your community back on its feet. We've requested the direct federal assistance. We will be working in a unified effort with the federal government to ensure that the equities and concerns of your community are addressed in that process. And as those teams mobilize, we will be able to provide more detail to you on how the cleanup operations are going to go, where the initial operations are going to be focused, how the teams are going to be prioritizing their workload. So a lot of that detail will come in future meetings like this. So we'll be working with your legislators to hold subsequent meetings just like this to continue to keep you informed on a weekly basis of how we're progressing forward. As I said, there's a lot of details to be worked out. I've got Sean Smith with me tonight, who's one of our operations chief for debris operations. As some of you have probably heard, we've unfortunately have a long history of catastrophic fires in California, but nothing on the scale of what we're looking at right now. We have run some incredible operations in other communities, the most recent being the Valley Fire in Lake County, where in 88 days we cleaned up over 1,000 home sites. We're not going to be able to do that here. It's going to take longer. We're going to do everything we can to maximize the utilization of all the resources at our disposal from local, state, and federal government to the extent that we can utilize and push the federal government to utilize local contractors to support their operations. We're going to do that. But we all have to understand we are dealing with, in Sonoma County alone, over 6,000 homes that were lost. I can't begin to understand what you're going through. I've never lost a home. I'm not a member of your community, but I can commit to you that we are going to pull out all of the stops to do everything we can to get this service to you so that you can take advantage of it and focus on other parts of your life right now. Let me transition a little bit to housing. I know it's something that's on everybody's minds. The federal government through FEMA has a multi-phased approach to addressing housing. The first is what they call their transitional housing, and so that'll be identifying those individuals that we can perhaps put into hotels or other arrangements in the short term. And then we are in the process, there's actually task forces in Sacramento and here in Sonoma that are looking at the complex longer-term housing solution. A lot of people have asked, when are the FEMA trailers going to arrive? And that is not necessarily the solution. And we don't want to fixate on that being the solution. And so we're looking at a lot of different options within your community. And as we have more information to provide on that, we'll get that out to you. But it's not a one-size-fits-all for each of you or each of your communities. And so we're pulling together the right folks to look at the whole effort holistically to make sure, again, that we maximize the utilization of our resources. But rest assured, what I have heard, shelter operations will continue if they're necessary. We're not going to put anybody in a position where you don't at least have that shelter option, but there's tremendous work being done by FEMA right now to identify what the need is and how we can address it on the short term. The most important thing that you can do as a survivor from this incident is register with the Federal Emergency Management Agency. And there are individuals in the building tonight that can help get you registered if you're not. When you register, that gives us information on what your needs are and what support you need from the state and federal government. So registration is absolutely critical. We can't stress enough. If you're not in the system, we don't know what your needs are, and we can't get this help and resources to you. So the two takeaways for you tonight: work on getting yourself registered with the folks that are here tonight. In addition, there's representatives from the county with me tonight that have right of entry forms. And I am happy, and Sean is happy to get into a little more detail on what that project looks like, because I understand we've done this a lot. There's a lot of questions, there's a lot of concerns. It feels a little too good to be true, and I will tell you, it is what it seems to be. We are going to bring the resources in to help you clean up your home site. And it's not going to be any cost to you. We'll shoulder that cost. So again, I'm happy to be here, and we'll stay as long as necessary to answer any questions you've got.
Thank you very much, Eric. I'm wondering, is the representative from FEMA here? I know they're here. Would you like to say a few words? I will. Fantastic. Come on up.
I didn't know if we had one or not, but sorry I'm late. I'm directionally challenged. Horizontally, vertically, and directional. So, yes, I didn't plan any speech here for FEMA, so just put on the spot here. So I'm going to give you the best I can give you. We are here to help you. We are here to support your state, and we are here to support your local facilities. We know some of you have been under mandatory evacuations. We know some of you have lost, unfortunately, your homes. We know people that are renters. So we have a feel for what's going on in the areas. Right now, I'm not sure how many counties I can't give you that are declared, but I know a few are. It's so nice to say, I have to say, welcome home. The last time I was in Sonoma, it was empty. So I'm so glad to see that the businesses are up and everything is running. So what FEMA can do for you is a couple different things. I'm going to start with, we do structure of your home. We do personal property, which is your stuff. And we do rental assistance, okay? So, first comes your home insurance. That's why wildfires aren't declared as much as a flooding, because fires are covered by homeowners. But just because you have a homeowners doesn't mean that FEMA is not willing and ready to take on the responsibility to assist you. That is why we are here at this disaster especially. Because of one reason, the mandatory evacuations, which are not common, I don't think, here. I'm not from here, but I think that's not common. Am I correct? Yeah, that's not common. So that's one of the reasons why we're here. So if you have homeowners, that is your first place to go. If you are still under mandatory evacuation, of course you have to wait until you can get to your home, so the homeowners people, their inspectors can get to your house. But for FEMA, it's the same thing. We can register you early if you were mandatory evacuated because you don't know what you're going home to. So we definitely can register you. We encourage you to be registered whether you have homeowners or not. Because a lot of people, they're not sure what their policy has. FEMA may be useful to you. FEMA may not be useful to you. You may have excellent insurance. But we find people that fall through the cracks or there's loopholes in their insurance policies that FEMA then can pick up the case, all the little pieces. So, if you have insurance, I would suggest you register. So that would be for mandatory evacuations, because you don't know what your home's for, or if you do know your home has been affected, please register. If you are a renter, and you were under mandatory evacuation, that means you did not have a home to live in because your landlord couldn't let you in. There again, you can register with FEMA. You don't have to have rental insurance. You can still register with FEMA. Also, as far as personal property stuff, that also goes through FEMA. So even say your homeowner's insurance will cover your structure, but they won't cover your personal property, or they won't cover your place to live. That's where FEMA falls in, even though you have homeowners. The only thing is you're going to have to show proof from your homeowners what they will and will not do for you. FEMA will not duplicate benefits. If you're a renter, personal property and your rental assistance is the way you're going to want to go because your landlord is going to have to take care of the structure, which means you may have to move somewhere else. So that's why we feel it's very important that you're registered with FEMA because you do not know what's going to happen, what has happened, what needs cleaned, if you're going to be able to go back into your home, even if it wasn't burnt, if you're able to clean it, you don't know if you're going to be able to breathe in it. So we encourage people to register. We have a team of FEMA Corps out there, which are so great. I love them. And they're here to help you and to guide you through the registration process. And with that, I think I covered enough that will make you make the decision whether you should register. And that's it. Is that enough?
That's enough. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I also want to point out that Rebecca from Congressman Mike Thompson's office is here. He had another commitment. We have, he's got lots of areas in his district, as do we, that so we're dividing and conquering. So now we're going to call up Christine Sosko from the environmental. She's the environmental health officer for Solano County to talk about contamination and other issues of public health that we all should be aware of during this time. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Christine Sosko. I'm the Director of Environmental Health with Sonoma County. Whoa. Yeah, that's better. Thank you. You know, we really apologize for the situation we're in. We're all working really hard to try to set everything up for you guys and get you back into your homes and onto your properties as quickly as possible. Right now, from a health standpoint, we do want to stress our concern about the ash and debris on the properties. We from a health, we always use the utmost caution when we're talking about advisories and that. And so we are advising everybody to please not handle that debris and you know, restrain from starting debris pickup and removal from your properties. There's also, as far as the debris removal from your properties, we're very concerned that if you do start that debris removal, you could find yourself ineligible for the program that was spoken about earlier. And so there's an air of caution there, both from a health standpoint and your health and safety, but also the eligibility of that program. And so that's why we're really stressing that. As part of our process, we do have the right to entry forms, which we are in the process of setting up. We are putting those right to entry forms, I think they're in the back, and what you'll want to do is fill out that form and then bring it to our office. We're setting up basically a help center to process those forms. It looks like we'll have it set up next week. We're shooting for early next week, and we'll try to staff that center to be the same as the local assistance center, so from 9 to 7. And there will be somebody there to assist you, walk you through the process, register you, and explain all the different pieces of that program. That'll also be where you will register if you decide to opt out of that program and do your debris removal on your own. So I guess probably the main points from a health perspective that we really want to make sure that you're aware of is, as you do return to your properties and you start looking around, use caution, try not to stir up any ash. We understand you're going to be looking for personal items and that is okay. You can remove personal items from your property. Those are not considered debris. And you can, once you remove those items, just not going in there and trying to take all the everything that's around and scoop it up and put it in dumpsters is what we want to avoid, and that has effect with the eligibility of the programs. The ash itself is unlike a general wildfire ash, where wildfire ash, there are hazards associated with it, but in this particular case, because it has affected so many homes and structures, there are other contaminants that can be there. We can have asbestos, we can have lead, you can have chemical byproducts coming from the plastics, the household cleaners that we have, there's hazards associated with that, and pesticides, your propane tanks, everything like that is a hazard that can be involved in that ash. There's also heavy metals that can be in that ash, and so that's why we don't want to see it being stirred up. You're also, one of the things we're hearing a little bit is there are some people in adjoining neighborhoods that have a lot of ash and debris and using like lawn blowers or blowers to blow the ash. And so we want to make sure that is not happening and really just express the safety and the importance of not moving that ash and keeping yourself safe. That's our most important message. Also, when you do return to your properties, you'll be given some protective equipment. And with that, like masks and gloves and things of that sort. With that, we're going to ask that you leave that back at the property because we don't want you to be tracking that back to your cars and where you're living right now. So we just want to keep that ash isolated where it is. So that's pretty much where we're at right now. Also, returning to your properties, I guess one of the other pieces is if you can leave your pets and your children with somebody else when you're coming to look through the area. Children and pets sometimes will start to get into other things, and we don't want them being exposed to that ash. So Thank you, and actually, let me give you the address and phone number and such for environmental health, so you know where to turn in those right of entry forms. And that is, our address is 625 5th Street in Santa Rosa, California. It is just like 3 blocks from the local assistance center, so you can walk just around the corner to us. We just set up a new email account, which is EH, so Environmental Health EH, and then ROE, right of entry, and that's at sonoma-county.org. So you can send your forms in that way once we get the center up and running. You can also send questions that way. We are working on setting up a dedicated hotline. We do not have that set up yet, but in the interim, you can call our main office line, which is area code 707-565-6565. And you can also fax information to us at 707-565-6525. So I'm gonna.
I have a question. So, if you're in a neighborhood burned down and you have something that's burned, like a garage, and it's near your house, would it be advisable to tarp it and put cinder blocks so you don't have ash flow? Would that be a recommendation?
It's a little bit of a difficult question in the way of we really wouldn't want you up there trying to tarp that property and to cover it. So her question was, if you've got a garage that maybe has been burned, should you tarp it and put something on top of it to hold that ash down in that area? And I think her question is a really good question in that, yes, tarping that area would be really great, but we want to make sure that we have a professional in there that's doing that. Somebody that has the right equipment and that would protect themselves from the ash. So for right now, I would say it would be best just to leave the structure as is until we get a little further in the process.
Stand by for questions, just in case they come. Thank you very much. So just wanted to make clear the FEMA is out front, so anybody that wants to do any of that work with them can do it right here today. The local assistance center also, there's a local assistance center at Hannah Boys Center, so it's closer to people in the city of Sonoma. At this point in time, I am looking for, is the mental health officer in the county here? Come on up, please.
Hi everyone, my name is Wendy Wheelwright. I am with Sonoma County Behavioral Health and I am a licensed marriage and family therapist specializing in trauma. And this is my colleague and he's going to introduce himself.
My name is Juan Gonzalez. I'm going to be translating into Spanish.
We're here to let you know that we are here to support you. We have resources available for you. And we want you to know that this is an extraordinary situation. There are many different reactions to trauma and grief, and there is no wrong way to feel about that.
Estamos aquí para soportarlos y apoyarlos. Entendemos que esta es una situación muy difícil y también estamos aquí para darles recursos en esta situación.
You may find that your own response is different even from your own family members or those of your neighborhood. And so we're going to talk to you about some of the things you might expect to experience.
Entendemos de que la reacción de todos es diferente. A veces en una familia las reacciones son diferentes y vamos a discutir eso ahora.
There are a lot of physical symptoms of grief and trauma. A lot of us are feeling just physically exhausted from this experience. That's very normal. It's normal to have aches and pains in the body and to feel jumpy and easily startled.
Hay síntomas físicos, en veces es bien sencillo de que uno se sienta sencillamente asustado.
It's normal to have your thinking impacted. It's very hard to concentrate. It's very hard to remember things, and as you're having to go through processes where you need to fill out forms and do applications, it's okay to ask people to slow down, repeat themselves, and pace what you need to pace.
Mentalmente también hay síntomas, a veces es difícil entender cosas o concentrarse, y es importante que uno se detenga y pida ayuda.
It's very normal to feel many different conflicting emotions. A lot of us have experienced fear. A lot of us have experienced sadness. A lot of us are experiencing anger. Some of us are experiencing guilt for feeling all of those other things.
Hay reacciones emocionales también, a veces uno se siente con miedo, se siente culpable, hay un montón de reacciones emocionales.
It's also not unusual to feel numb and wonder if there's something wrong with you because you're not feeling it the same way as other people. There's nothing wrong with you if you're feeling it differently.
Y en veces uno no siente nada y eso está bien, es otra reacción.
Behaviorally, we all process things differently. Some of us need to withdraw and be by ourselves for a minute. Some of us need to connect and be with other people. Some of us are feeling a little more edgy and irritable than we normally would. And probably most of us aren't sleeping very well.
Hablando del comportamiento de una persona, en veces la gente quiere estar sola o en veces con otras personas.
We've been getting a lot of questions about how to talk to children about this. We have some resources prepared for those who are interested in what you could do or say for your children.
Hemos recibido muchas preguntas acerca de cómo tratar a los niños, cómo hablarles acerca de esto.
In general, children do have questions, and it's okay to answer those questions, and they tend to let you know what it is they need by how they ask the question.
Es común de que los niños tengan muchas preguntas y es natural que ellos les pregunten qué está pasando.
It's especially important to remember that children tend to think that everything that's bad that happens is their fault. So do what you can to reassure them that this is not their fault.
Es común en veces de que los niños se sientan culpables de que esto es la culpa de ellos y es muy importante hablar con ellos y decirles que no es la culpa de ellos.
The best thing we can do for children is to model for them that it's okay to take care of ourselves. So as best as you can, try to get them healthy food, activities, and set some kind of routine that you can keep consistent with for them to give them a sense of stability.
Es importante ser modelos para nuestros niños, así que tratar de cuidarnos a nosotros mismos para que ellos se cuiden a ellos también y darles cosas con estructura, alimentarlos bien y ayudarles.
I'm here with several counselors. They're standing over there. They're going to be here throughout this afternoon for anyone who feels like they want to talk to us. We have stacks of resources and contact numbers in English and Spanish to give out. And if you don't want to talk to us, that's okay too. We won't make you, but you can still take some of our resources.
Acompañándonos hay un grupo de terapistas que están aquí, consejeros, que pueden hablar con ustedes si gustan. No es necesario que lo hagan, pero están disponibles. Y también traemos recursos que podemos compartirlos con ustedes.
Thank you for your time. We want you to know we're here with you and for you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was very well done, very complete. Before we get to the question and answers, also from Sonoma County, Susan Classen, who is here to talk a little bit more about the Resource Center and what is available to each and every one of you.
Good afternoon. So I wanted to talk a little bit about two centers that we have open right now. So in Santa Rosa at 427 Mendocino Avenue, it's the Press Democrat building right downtown in Santa Rosa, we have a local assistance center. At that center, it is a collaborative of the county of Sonoma along with a host of federal and state agencies. So FEMA is there, they can register you there. Small businesses there are people to help you with documents that you've lost, like vital records. The DMV is there. When you have lost your driver's license and need to replace it, those kinds of things, as well as Cal OES is there, along with a bunch of other state agencies that can help you. Franchise Tax Board, because life goes on and bills have to get paid and things like that. They can help you with those issues that you may be facing and wondering how you're going to deal with those. As well as the county is there. As Christine Sasko said, we have environmental health, fire and emergency services. We have people from Health and Human Services. The center is staffed with interpreters so that we can help people in Spanish and in English. And that center is open from 9 to 7. We take the last intake at 6 o'clock so that we can close the center at 7. But anytime between 9 and 6, you can come there and visit that center and access just a host of things that will help you. In addition to that, I wanted to talk a little bit about what we have over here in Sonoma Valley, which is the Sonoma Valley Local Intake Center. That is located at 17,000 Arnold Drive. It is the Hannah Boys Center, and I know most of the people in the valley are probably familiar with the roundabout on Arnold Drive. It's right off the roundabout on Arnold Drive. That center is also going to be open for the same hours and same intake and days as the center in Santa Rosa. It is a reduced facility. We have intake workers from the county there, and primarily we have the state and federal agencies in there. So what you'll see is big signs that say FEMA that will direct you into that facility. It's another place, in addition to getting with FEMA tonight, that you can go register for FEMA benefits and talk to a lot of the state and federal agencies about different ways that they can help you. So I think that's it for now. I would just say that the folks that are visiting those two centers are extremely happy with the information that they're getting. So I would really encourage you to go. And I would also encourage you that if you register for FEMA online yourselves before you get there, the whole experience at either one of those centers will go faster for you. So thank you. Register online, correct.
Thank you, Susan. Before we get into question and answers, I want to thank the County of Sonoma for, I'm going to tell you, for the last 11 days, they have been everywhere in our communities here in Sonoma Valley, over in Santa Rosa, and I really, all these reports, this stuff wasn't put together just for this. I mean, they've been ready, and they're ready for these. So I really thank the County of Sonoma for the job they've done. So the first question, and this is a lot on debris cleanup right now, is what is the process for a private contractor to get approval to complete the home demolition process?
Good afternoon, folks. My name is Sean Smith. I'm with the Governor's Office of Emergency Services, Cal OES, and I'm the statewide debris coordinator. The process, so if you're a private contractor or you're looking to hire a private contractor, as we progress through this over the next couple of weeks, the county will come out with a private cleanup standard. Basically, the private contractors will have to clean to a standard. They will have to still follow some of the same rules as the state contractors do. A lot of that's going to do with air quality and going to do with the environmental cleanup around the homes. That process will come out. There will be both private and state government cleanup and federal government cleanups going on at the same time. We have to coordinate that in an effort that all of us can work at the same time without running over each other and without contaminating each other's sites. So, okay, here we go, we got more. Are you providing protective gear for re-entry for people? That is the county, and I believe that the county is going to be handing out, or the Red Cross, some gloves, masks, and other items. Please, the only thing, our state teams have cleaned up about 5,000 homes in the state over the last 5 to 6 years. Please be careful. That's me. I've been out there on these sites before. Please be careful when you're out there. If you see a liquid on your site, it's probably not water. Water has evaporated and gone away. If that's a liquid, that's a chemical of some sort. So please be careful when you're out there. And as Christine said, children and animals, they're more susceptible to this. They're closer to the debris. They're lower. They're shorter than us. please keep them away. When you go back to your cars, after you're done looking for your belongings, you're probably gonna have dust and things on you. Please bag those clothes up the best you can, put them away, because you cross-contaminate things as you move around. If you go from your car to where you're staying, all of that, it's on your clothing, it will be on your shoes. So do your best. The question about the, real quick, I want to address the question about if you have a structure on your property and your home hasn't burned, but you have another structure, one of the best things you can do is if your water works and you have a garden hose, spray it once a day and keep it damp until the crews can come help you, because that will keep the ash down. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere.
Yes, you would be able to, I mean, like right here, because you're going to be here all night. Will you be able to register online for the right of entry? Yes, that was already answered. And then also you can register right here, the right of entry as well. So the next question is, how will containment be done for lead and asbestos, appliance, and electronics?
So as we clean, this is the state teams. Private contractor, I don't know what the rules are going to be set behind that, but when the state and federal teams come in, when we clean the material up, it's got to be wet, as I explained about, if you have a structure on your property, we wet that material. It's almost soupy when we pick it up. And a lot of that has to do with the airborne hazards. That takes care of any of the asbestos, the heavy metals, it keeps it contained. We then load that material into a lined dump truck. They require, the air districts and the safety folks require us to put a big plastic tarp in the dump truck. When we load that material in the dump truck, we then have to fold it up like a burrito. So it's nice and it's nice and contained, and it has to go to a specified landfill.
What types of property are included in the debris cleanup? Does it include cutting trees, removing landscape?
Okay, our teams, the state teams, federal teams, do not cut trees and landscaping or remove landscaping. We will cut a tree if it, I'm going to call it a hanger or a leaner or hanger. If it's leaning over where your burn structure was, and we have to do it for worker safety, we will cut that tree. We are coming in to eliminate the public health emergency. That's what our teams are doing. There will be other folks that will come to help with trees and shrub removal later. There's nonprofits, there's a lot of other groups that do that, but our teams will strictly be to dealing with the hazardous ash and debris.
By signing a right of entry form, are we signing away our right to restrict cleanup crews from damaging our trees and not incinerated property? Does it allow them to only inspect or also to clean up?
Okay, so the right of entry form, it gives us the ability to clean your property. There's a hold harmless on there. If we damage something on your property, we do our best to fix it. We try our best not to damage anything. And part of the right of entry form, you will see, ask you to draw a map of your property the best you know. Let us know where your septic is. Let us know if you have a well or anything else on your property you want us to know about. We work in a postage stamp environment, I call it, where we work in a very small area. We don't just roll the excavator and the equipment from lot to lot. We back it off of your lot, put plywood down, and move it to the next lot. So we do our best not to damage anything. Are we perfect? Absolutely not. We do damage things. We do hit trees and gates. The trees, we can't make a tree better, but we will repair a gate or a fence if we do damage it.
Okay, also for debris removal, if we use a private contractor, would they be faster? Is there a list of approved contractors?
Okay, as the state cleanup lead, I do not have a list of private contractors. I oversee our program. Will there be an opportunity for those folks? Absolutely. I mean, this is going to be a coordinated effort, but we all have to coordinate together safely.
Is it faster? Private contractor faster?
We're all going to be looking to a lot of those same contractors. So I can't guarantee you it's going to be faster. What I can tell you is the county is likely to require that if you use a private contractor, they do it to the same standard that our federal contractors will require. And sometimes that's a hard standard for that private contractor under your authority to meet. So what I will commit to you is that we are going to do everything we can to make the delivery of our program the best solution for you. so that we can return the entire community. Because one of the things we're concerned about is where we've got our project going and then we've got a one-off contractor doing another project. No disrespect to that contractor, but if they're not operating by the same standards, they start to contaminate other areas, and as they're moving debris through our communities, there's a larger impact to the community. So we're really going to encourage all of you to give our program strong consideration, and we're going to do everything we can to deliver that in a way that'll meet your community's objectives.
So, real fast, so this is Senator brought up a great point. We have not explained that it's kind of a two-part process here. There's currently a very first stage that's going on right now, and the county did touch on it initially, is it's what we call the household hazardous waste sweeps. And that is the very first process that's going in. That is where the teams are going to go in and remove all of the gross hazards. They're going to remove not going to remove your propane tanks, they're going to make them inert. They're going to remove that valve off the top. They're going to remove any chemicals, pesticides, herbicides, things like that that they visually see on the surface. That is something that's going to go on first. After that, the actual debris cleanup comes in. And I would not recommend a private contractor to try to do the household hazardous waste sweeps unless they are a hazmat contractor. So that's just that household hazardous waste sweeps. When we talk about the secondary cleanup, that's the regular cleanup.
And part of that, your local landfills are not going to accept that. So that's also, I think, an important, if you have a contractor that comes out and does it, he's going to have, if he's not licensed and doesn't know where that's going, he's going to have or she is going to have a heck of a time disposing of it. Okay, what impact will the rains, and we'll get to hand questions in a minute. There's Logan. What impact will the rains have on the debris, and what if one has streams on their property?
Okay. So let's talk about rain for a second. Light rain, like what we're hoping we're going to get right now, is good. It's going to keep the ash in place. It's not going to cause runoff. If we have heavy rain, we are going to have runoff. If you have a stream on your property or you have a creek, on the right of entry form, make a big note about that, because we want to get the assessment team to your property first. The county, part of this process is it is chaotic, but it is organized. One of the things we look for is we try to identify sites that are high impact. If you are near a school, or you are near a daycare, or you are near an elderly center, please let us know on the right of entry forms. Our teams will be looking for that. They will be trying to identify these sites. But if you have a site that you have a sensitive area, environmental, or your neighbors, or if there's something else on your property we don't know about, let us know. Because these are the things that you're the expert of what was on your property, we are not. But if you know these things, or you know there's a creek down at the bottom that we don't see, please put that on your right of entry form so we can get that addressed immediately.
Is power washing the exterior of a structure okay at this time?
If you have an unburnt structure on your property and you're going to clean it off, there's a way to do that. Please work with a contractor. There's a solution that they can mix into the power wash that actually cleans and it neutralizes the acids that are in the acidic material that's in the ash. If your home is burnt or you have charred material, don't power wash that off.
Right for now? Good. Thank you. For Chief Sackett and perhaps Commander Childs, come on up. Why is access to Glen Ellen in areas other than Dunbar, Sylvia, etc., being denied for so many days? No dead.
Especially when for 2 miles there's no burn area.
Yeah, that is a good question. So what I do know about Glen Ellen is that is a priority for both our office and I know Supervisor Gorin's office as well to get access to there. There are a couple of significant burn areas. You named one, Sylvia, and the Trinity Oaks area, and then also east of Glen Ellen on Warm Springs Road is pretty substantial. So we have a vested interest in trying to get that open as soon as we can. We know that the community wants it open. We're working with our community partners. We're providing as much information as we can regarding the status of Glen Ellen. and we're really just kind of waiting for CAL FIRE and PG&E and everybody else to kind of give the go-ahead. I will say, even as early as today, when I came through there, there was about a half-mile long train of PG&E trucks really kind of restringing and replanting poles all along the Warm Springs. And so they're really trying to do the best they can to get that thing open. I wish I had an answer for you. I simply don't. We're working through the approval process to get that open, and it's certainly a best interest.
We were evacuated, and Highway Patrol let us back in, and there's probably 200 homes downtown that were untouched up in the hills on Gibson Street, Parkinas, Riddle Road.
Correct.
And there's probably 100 people still there.
Yep.
And I left to take the dog to the vet, and they won't let me back in. My husband, we have power, we have all of it, and I'm so sorry for the stuff that's happened to all the other people. But if you were there, and then they let me restore 2 days ago, and now they won't. So it's very inconsistent.
Sure.
And if you have power and nothing's been touched, why, if you don't, if you show residential, and they escorted me back in.
Sure.
So now they're not doing that after, from one, it changed 24 hours.
Yeah, so and that frustration that you experienced has been experienced in other parts of the county, including other parts of Sonoma Valley. I don't have a good answer for you. There are multiple agencies that are working checkpoints, both Chris's team with CHP, allied agencies, our office, and sometimes communication broke down. And so there were people who were let back in under erroneous conditions. We can't get them back out. We know that problem. We have tried to tighten it down by better communication, and it's just, as you understand, we're rotating people 12 hours a day, and so there are several locations that have people and that probably shouldn't. So.
I'm going to hold off until we get done with the written questions. How about, do you have any estimate on opening Adobe Canyon Road, flat area? Same thing.
So again, we have a vested interest as well, probably second only to the residents to get those roads open. As you know, that area was probably the last to be attacked in terms of the fire. As a matter of fact, just as of a couple days ago, it was still active back there. So that too has been an area that CAL FIRE would like us to secure from many residents until we have an opportunity to go through that checkpoint or that checklist of all the people who need to make sure that it's safe for everybody to return and that we don't hamper either firefighting efforts and or utilities.
Okay, thank you, Chief. At this time, I'd like to call CAL FIRE back up just to talk maybe in general about what the process is so that folks understand what the process is around repopulation of these areas.
Thanks. I think, Senator, you hit the nail on the head there. I think the thing we're talking about here is process. And we have learned from past experiences statewide, if you don't have a process for repopulation and re-entry, you do sometimes the worst possible thing, which is evacuate people a second time after an emergency to get equipment or systems in there. And that's something we definitely do not want to do, is let people in and then have to move them again. As for the process, what goes on at the Incident Command Post for the repopulation and re-entry of areas is this. There's a law liaison, what we call a law liaison. And that law liaison also wears a red hat. And they come in and they are in contact with the CHP, Santa Rosa PD, the Sonoma County Sheriff's Department, and all of the utilities that are involved in this area to ensure that everybody at that table is okay with a certain area opening up. And one of the big things that happens after these emergencies is going in and putting in some pretty heavy infrastructure. If you look out there right now, there's culverts being replaced, there's guardrails being put up, and these are things that you wouldn't think are a big deal, but they're there for a reason. Cars have gone off the road, there's been accidents that have been involved. There may be roadway that's actually melted or been impaired as well. So there are non-immediately obvious things that go into this whole process. And getting it done now, taking that extra day, taking that extra 2 days to get those tasks done, just reduces what I talked about before, the likelihood of anybody getting injured after they go back into that area. It wouldn't be responsible of us to let people in there knowing that there was a hazard. So that's the process. There's a plan that's developed every time an area is going to be repopulated, and that plan gets approved by all of the stakeholders in the repopulation law liaison team, and then that gets rolled out through all the agencies. I can tell you now, there are a lot of people representing you that want nothing more in those meetings than for you to go home. And I guarantee you that. I've seen it firsthand. The passion is there, the hours are there, the maps are there. It is happening. And it's again, something that I feel for you, and I know if I was in your shoes, I'd want to get back right now. But I promise you, we are making it safe, and that's our #1 priority. And that patience, we can't ask for anything more but that patience, and just the reassurance that your areas are on the map, you matter, and we'll get you in there really as soon as we can. Thanks.
Okay, we're moving along here. There's a number of questions regarding, going back to make urgency repairs and things on your property that's in a hard road closure. That's not going to be allowed, from what I just heard here too. And there's other questions regarding permits to rebuild. The county, do they keep approved building plans? The county has an extensive building and permit resource center, and you can visit them and get that information from them. Now we have a question for Police Chief Sackett again. Could you please describe the security processes that are in place now in some of these areas, and then when FEMA enters the property?
Yeah, I can answer some of those. So as I mentioned, at any given time, we're in operational periods with our mutual aid partners. At any given time, we have roughly 60 law enforcement officers from all over the place. We also have several National Guard units that are out here kind of with hard road closures in areas that we think are appropriate for them to be. We also have a group of both deputies and deputies from our office, as well as deputies from the Alameda County Sheriff's Office, which are providing patrol, particularly in those areas that we think are vulnerable because they've been evacuated. And so we are doing our best to keep an eye on the property. We are doing our best to maintain access through those control points as best as possible. We have, in fact, made several arrests over the last week for a variety of things. None of them for actually looting, but for activity and behavior that we think is consistent with those who may be up here to do exactly that. So, in terms of what happens with FEMA, I would probably defer to them, although I will make a commitment that we're here to support their efforts, whatever it would be in terms of getting you back into your property. And I'd like to add just one more thing if I could. So regarding reentry. So there has been a great deal of discussion, I think also in Napa County, certainly in Sonoma County, regarding our vendors and growers. It's very important here in Sonoma Valley. This is the lifeblood of our community. It is the lifeblood of many of our residents. And so there is a process for which people who are vendors and growers to work directly with the Ag Commissioner to get an agricultural permit. And when you get an agricultural permit, you are allowed to go through a hard road closure. You are escorted in by an official county individual or somebody who's recognized, and you will get into your area. You're allowed to do whatever work it is that you are, and then you're required to exit at the conclusion of your permit. And so when you go down to meet with the Ag Commissioner, there are things like what's your name, where you're located, what's your resource need, what are you trying to accomplish, how many people do you need, what equipment do you need, and how long will you be there. My understanding is that permits are only valid for a period of 12 hours because conditions change quickly, you have to re-up. But we have seen numerous agricultural permits in the valley, so I know people are working with the Sonoma Valley vendors and growers to kind of get some of those things. So if you are a vendor and grower, that is a question that we get frequently, and I would really encourage you to reach out to the Agricultural Commissioner here in Sonoma County.
Thank you, Chief. There's numerous questions regarding FEMA reimbursement for lost wages and a number of different areas. We've got them out in front. They can answer those specific questions that you may have. Back for, I think, OES. Come up. How long debris removal process take? I think you've already covered that. It's going to be a while. Will homeowners get a bill for the federal cleanup? If not, how is it paid?
So to the first question on time frame, we don't know that right now. Once our contractors get mobilized, we'll start to build work plans from your ROEs, from your authorization forms, get a sense of where we need to prioritize our efforts and start to understand how long this is going to take, and we'll communicate that back out to you. In terms of the cost, the federal and state government will be shouldering the cost of the cleanup. The only cost to you will be if you have insurance that has a component to it for debris cleanup, we will be asking for that component from your insurance. If you don't have insurance and you don't have that, then there's not going to be anything for us to pay. So the federal and state government will be shouldering the cost.
One more. Can homeowners use FEMA money or insurance money to purchase replacement property rather than rebuild?
So, and I'll ask FEMA to come in and correct anything that I say here. FEMA is not going to make you whole. We're going to be looking at your insurance first and then your unmet needs. And so the assistance that FEMA can provide, both through financial assistance and rental assistance, is designed to get you through this process to where you are going to be able to rebuild. But the support that you'll get from FEMA is to address your unmet needs. It is not something that is going to make you whole. We need to look at a holistic approach of both your insurance plus that assistance as well.
I'm sure this is in your area of expertise, but can I park a trailer on my on an unburned portion of my property if it's out of the way of the cleanup efforts on my land?
That'll be something that the county will be looking at, and so I don't want to get into too much detail. That'll be a decision the county will make in terms of placement of trailers. Obviously, if the trailer's parked on debris or in that footprint, we're not going to be able to clean that site. So that'll be something the county will be looking at and informing residents at the appropriate time about that.
Commander, take this one. I'm not seeing any escorting of families to retrieve critical living items. My family evacuated 12:45 on 10/9. They left their house very, very quickly. When will we see escorts beginning for families with critical needs?
Well, we've been doing them off and on as conditions allow, and when conditions allow us to get back up in there, we will do some escorts. We were telling people who needed their medications to go down to Sonoma Valley Hospital. They have staff and a full pharmacy that could get you temporary medications, temporary prescriptions. And in terms of getting your animals out, we've been letting horse trailers in to get the big animals out, so just trying to be compassionate.
Okay, I have a well on my property. What is the resource for groundwater contamination protection and testing? I think that would be also a county issue that you could get at the resource center. The environmental health would be able to help you through that process. Which agencies are accepting donation of gift cards, etc., clothing? You know, they're not accepting. I'll tell you, that's the one thing about this valley. Everybody in this community is so generous beyond belief, and I know that they've got more clothes and things that they can possibly bottle water and that, and particularly now. But these gift cards, I think, are that go to the local assistance center. They are handling those. They have people that handle that specific program. You know, this is one I don't know that we've got an agency here that'll answer this, but how about the Glen Ellen post office opening? All mail that's not being picked up by October 11th is locked up in there. And this means Social Security checks and a lot of things that are important to folks. Anybody have any idea on that? Okay, we're gonna be checking on that. Apparently the mail's been diverted to other post offices because they haven't been able to get there. Petaluma? So people already know that. That's why it takes a village, right? Okay, there was a 16-hour debris debris removal course mentioned at the town hall meetings on Thursday at Prestwood. Is there more information about that for people? Anybody know anything about that? If not, we can get, you can ask out in the resource center. I think at this point in time, what time do we have here? I think for about 8 minutes, and we're gonna be out of here at 2:30. For 8 minutes, if somebody has a question that wasn't answered by the cards, I'll take them. But it's only, you got 3, and I'm gonna take 3. Go ahead.
I understand there's a process for determining what's safe. What's the process for letting us know that it's safe so we can go back in? That's the part I'm not saying.
Say it again.
So I'll say it's, oh, go ahead. You got a mic?
My question is, I understand you have a process for determining what neighborhoods are safe, but what's the process for letting us know that we can go back into those neighborhoods? It's been very confusing so far.
You know, that process at this point in time is Nixle. If you haven't signed up for Nixle, you got to sign up for Nixle. That's important. That's in Facebook, the county website, our websites, and then you also have KSDY, newspapers. We're getting the word out to the media. Next. Up here. Wait for the mic, please.
Yeah, if your house and your property was not damaged, but you live near a severely burned area, where can we find information about the things that we should do to potentially clean inside our homes, outside our homes, our yards? Is there a big need for some sort of mitigation?
You can go to the Sonoma County site, just sonomacounty.ca.org. And if you go to that site, there is a flyer that's about returning to home. And in that flyer, it will talk about basically food safety, which foods should be disposed of. As far as foods to be disposed of, anything that was wrapped in a permeable package. So anything that's in plastic, paper, anything like that should be disposed of. Of course, any of your perishable goods, because your power has been out, you want to remove that from your property. You also want to look at like your canned items, because your cans, if the heat was very intense, the cans will explode and so you want to remove those from the property. And then as far as, it'll talk about sanitizing your kitchen and cleaning that. And it gives you the ratio. You want to clean it with a chlorine solution, household chlorine bleach and water. And it'll give you the ratio. It's a different ratio for like in your bathroom versus in your kitchen because of the counters and being off the counters. For the most part, it's a couple capfuls of chlorine to water, to like a bucket of water, a 5-gallon bucket of water. You want to clean the surfaces all with soap and water first. Then you want to take your chlorine and water solution and sanitize those surfaces, and then let everything air dry. And that's how you would sanitize that area. That's a little, that's trickier. I mean, for the most part, we're really looking at the interior and keeping you safe and healthy there. As far as hosing down yards, I think what we heard from OES, is hosing down yards okay? No. Okay.
So what do you do with it?
We're worried about stormwater.
Yeah, stormwater.
So
Right. What can they do?
there are solutions to hold on structures.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
So for the outside, for the exterior of your structure, there is solutions you can purchase. There is solutions you can hire a contractor that I apologize. It neutralizes the acidic of the ash, and that's what you would rinse your structure with. I wouldn't put that in my grass and stuff and in my shrubs. You know, I just don't. And I think that this area with so much ash, you are going to need to keep it down and keep it wet. But if you're cleaning your structure and you're going to clean the exterior structure, there is a solution for that. And I apologize, I'm not an expert in that, but if you reach out and you look around, you'll find it, and it neutralizes the acidic components of the ash.
I think the other piece too is if you are going to hose something down, you want to make sure you're covering the storm drain in your neighborhood, because you don't want that going down the storm drain and heading out to the rivers.
Right, in some areas there's not storm drains, but there are ditches that end up in creeks and streams. We're trying to, common sense is a lot of this, and I think that's what we're going to have is an abundance of common sense during this tough time. I'm going to take the lady up here and this gentleman over here, and I think that's it.
Hi. Is Eric Lambersol still present? Yes, okay. Eric, you had said that it took 88 days to clean 1,000 homes in the Lake County fires that we experienced. And so I was doing the math with 77,000 structures that we're looking at potentially needing to clean. I represent an insurance company, so I have some concerns about being able to tell my clients how long before the process of rebuilding begins, since they have a 2-year time limit from start to finish. So I realize that you can't answer the question of how long this will take, but I'm wondering if there's any coordination happening, for instance, with the Department of Insurance. I know that they were at the meeting on Thursday, to perhaps extend these time limits for insurance companies so that we can meet the needs of our clients. I mean, this is a huge issue for many of us.
So we'll make a note of that, Sean, you can make a note of that. We are working closely with Department of Insurance. We want to get this done in months. This is not something that we want to be dealing with any longer than that. So we'll have a better sense, again, once we meet with the contractors of what their capabilities are going to be. But rest assured, we are mobilizing every resource we can from throughout California and the nation to tackle this problem. And so we're gonna set some very ambitious goals and do everything we can to meet those goals.
We just have one announcement here from a waste disposal company.
My name is Jerry Roy. I represent Redwood Empire Disposal, which services most of the county of Sonoma, with the exception of the city of the town of Sonoma.
I'm sorry, can you speak up, please? I can't hear you.
So I represent Redwood Empire Disposal Service, which is the local service provider for most people in Sonoma County, with the exception of the town of Sonoma. We are getting a lot of calls and requests for people that are looking for dumpsters to pick up, debris and clean up their properties. And what we are denying people service for is anything that's burned or charred or damaged by actual flames or things like that. We are providing debris boxes and dumpsters for people that are trying to clean out grocery stores for contaminated food or rotting trespassable waste. And that goes for residential services as the areas get opened and people are able to move back into their homes. We are still providing trash service on the trash service days that you're used to.
Thank you. I think that underscores the importance of waste disposal here and how serious of an issue this is. One other thing that this Governor Brown was in town on Sunday, made it very, very clear that whatever he could do by executive order to streamline the rebuilding, to help work with local governments, to help in that endeavor, and then also if there were regulations like insurance regulations that don't allow him to do some of those streamlining, that he wouldn't hesitate to call us all back in to session for an extraordinary session, special session, and get that taken care of immediately. So that is it for the questions at this point in time. I want to thank you all for being here. I want to introduce, I've already introduced her, Assemblymember Cecilia Aguilar Curry. She and I have been partners throughout the last couple of weeks working on this, and I'd like her to close this meeting. Thank you very much.
Well, first I want to thank all of you for being here today. This is a difficult situation. It was catastrophic, and we know it, and we've taken it to heart from the minute we heard about the fires. As you can imagine, we have been on red alert, this entire team. I know you don't realize behind the scenes all the people that are working on this project. There are hundreds and hundreds of people, different departments and agencies. FEMA stepped up right away. We got funding right away from the federal government and the state government. But I do want to share one story because it does affect this area. Senator Dodd and myself were very concerned about the Sonoma Developmental Center and getting those people evacuated. I want to tell you is that you cannot believe all the people that came together, and I need to thank publicly the National Guard. They picked up every single one of the residents with their beds and their wheelchairs and their clothing, and they moved them not once but twice. They are currently living in Dixon at the Dixon Fairgrounds, and it is the most amazing feat you'll ever imagine. So I want you to all know that there's a bunch of angels that live over there at Sonoma Developmental Center that are being taken care of by some incredible people. And that's when you know our government works, and that's when you know that people care. So with that, I want to thank you all. We are going to work hard every single day in Sonoma County, today, tomorrow, and until we get this all taken care of. Thank you so much for your attendance, and please take advantage of the local assistance centers. Thank you.